Excuse me. So I'm just making this video to go over how court went today. There's two cases. There's David and Zach versus Robert, and there's Greystone, what is Robert, versus Zach and David. Now, we were trying to pay our rent and give a notarized letter of repairs, and then 30 days later, we were planning on filing a bunch of paperwork with the courts, or the paper would be filed within 30 days to withhold rent. Or hopefully we would be in or have the paperwork in at that time. That didn't work because when we tried to give him the money for rent and the letter that clearly stated what was going on with the damn apartment with pictures, money and mine, and this is signed by David, so he wants this given to him first. David doesn't, want to put his money in a piece of paper. No, he wants the landlord just to take the piece of paper. Everybody thinks we live in this fairyland where people do simple stuff like when you say, hey, my rent is in here, it's just telling you the repairs. It's like this bug place over here and this window over here. No, I'm not taking it. It's notarized. We've mailed it. We've told you verbally. We really need you to take this. Instead, he wants to use verbal hate speech, starts acting crazy, and I'm like, what are you, drunk? He goes over trying to intimidate the old man out of the money when it very clearly has David's. I even tell him it's from David as well as me. So he clearly, David is, he knows I'm advocating for him. Maybe David just hasn't told the landlord that I advocate for him yet. But that might be a smart thing to do. But I'm pretty sure David has said, Zach helps me with this, and Zach helps me with this, and Zach spoke for me on this, and Zach is saying this. I'm pretty sure that he's seen me do that for David and seen David ask me to speak on his behalf before. Plus, you got the landlord trying to verbally threaten David and me with, I'm going to hit you and evict you if you don't go over there, do my landscaping, and pick up those cans. Who the hell threw cans and where? Why are we doing your landscaping for you is what I'm thinking. David's thinking, I'm scared, I better go out there and take care of this. That's a right response at his age, absolutely. You got a big fat beer belly landlord who is acting aggressive, who's willing to throw other tenants on the ground and then lie about it. At least that's what I've heard. We've seen a lot of crazy shit from him. So he's thrown me physically on the ground on camera, a ring camera, for trying to hand him a piece of paper. It gets so ridiculous. He needs to do this. We've mailed it. We've said it verbally. People are getting sick. There's a whole building of holes and mold. We're having ceilings collapse. Like today, a whole ceiling collapsed. I'm not even joking. It literally almost hit my roommate. He went in there before me. If he was in there 5 minutes or going in there to do his bag just at the right time, that was just right to hit him on the head. And that is a soaked ceiling that collapsed, and we got two more about to collapse. And this isn't the first time. We also got lots of mold up there, rust. We got mold leaking into the wooden windows to the point where water leaks in the walls. This building needs to be condemned or fixed. New windows, new pipes, no more problem for a long time. Maybe a water filter system, or the pipes might be part of the problem. It's hard to say. But these pipes are terrible, terrible pipes. Awful, awful sludge pipes. Awful, awful stuff. It's a bunch of things put together. But no matter what you want to call it, it is illegal. Tenants cannot be waving outside and having just waterfalls go into their wall, mold growing willy-nilly, mushroom gardens growing in the floor. Not the good mushrooms, trust me. I know all about the good mushrooms. If those are growing in my floor, I would be, making a soup every Christmas or something. But no, these are the great poisonous asshole mushrooms that the spores make you sick. They're poisonous to cats, humans, dogs, all of the mix. They're hard to get rid of. They grow everywhere, and they're a pain in the ass. They're a pain in the ass to get rid of. And I have never seen them growing in through a floor before. But in the bathroom where the sink meets the floor, there was. And with all the flood and roof collapse, no, not roof, sorry, ceiling collapsing down full of water and mold, I'm guessing the mushroom spores got into something. The ceiling collapsed before we moved in and they started growing. And because when we moved in, nobody did any work on the place, the mushrooms were there, the hole was there, there's some crayon in a room, there's a hole in a door that we actually told the landlord about, but I came in here too late to take pictures. There was already two people about to sign a lease. One didn't want to pay, one was paying, one was going to get screwed, one was going to run away. One person that was going to get screwed, I knew. So Mixer Fix It was called, but and I did fix it. It all worked out. Things have worked out for the best, but these things have to be fixed or you get health issues. It's that simple. I've been talking about this since day one. I've been trying to keep up with it as I get sick. And I had pre-existing conditions, and this was a worry before I came up here. Insurance, doctors, Social Security, hospitals, work. Those were my concerns. You can see why. Now, moldy in the window. Man, I should have lifted up those windows and inspected them, but it really doesn't matter because I did eventually after only a couple months, and I came in too late to take pictures. They were already moved in. It was either take it or leave it, and I never got to inspect it, take pictures. I got no say in the matter. I either could keep couch surfing at the time I was, or I could try to save three disabled people from ever having to live outside or in a shelter. I took the latter. Originally me and Dave, and then somebody else who could help Dave, but was a lot of work for me, came up. But it became work for David where I had to make sure David wasn't going to get hurt. David, is 84. Raymond wants to put olive oil or cooking oil on himself in the shower, making it impossible to take a shower, loosening shower bars, and yeah, he tried. He actually Raymond hurt himself. He was trying to pull on a bar to loosen it, but he couldn't figure out how to loosen it like his last one. So he fell back instead and almost broke his own neck. Um, my roommate says something about it, and then I actually caught him doing it, and I asked him why he was loosening it. He said he was fixing it. I said, you don't pull as hard as you can to fix it, Raymond. I walk in here and I see you trying to rip that thing out of the wall. That's not how you fix it. You pull the clips on the top, you slide, you push, you put the clips back. But whatever you're doing is definitely not fixing it. You're loosening it and then leaving it there loose. That's dangerous. Now that I've told you this, you've got to stop. Then it continued, and I had to check it all the time. That's all I could do till this guy could get housing. Good people can't throw other people out after they've been a resident for 30 days. It's the law. I could have pushed that law all I wanted against my parents. The only way they could have got me out is by lying. Oh, he's doing something crazy. He's doing something crazy. Call the police. He's doing the police. Oh my god, oh my god. Wait until they ever have a guy chasing them down the street with a hammer. I've seen that shit right next to me. I've had guys pull knives just for my cell phone. I've had guys, 19-year-olds walking around with real guns thinking they're cool. I'm like, oh my god. I've literally had to sit and watch a shooting with a cop and another guy with a gun right downtown Lowell. I've had to watch a guy get murdered and pushed on a pile of rock. Well, not watch, listen to, with a bunch of witnesses and reports, plenty of them, to the police. Of course, the police just want you to get killed too. They make that very clear that they will give if you give a report to them against a murderer, they will give the murderer your name. I'm not even kidding. No, don't think about witness protection. No, the murderer is going to get your name and address if you're homeless. It's fucking terrible. Hey, he lives right in that tent city over there. His name is this. He looks like this, and he's the guy charging you. Oh, and yeah, it's with murder. What the hell? Yeah, don't do that. Don't do stupid stuff like make a report to the police unless you're able to actually survive. Because the police are going to give your name right on the report. And if you live downtown or homeless, your address is right there, visible to everybody as well. Because you're marked homeless in Lowell. So remember that. Your address is going to be known, and they're going to have your name, and they're going to know who made out the report, and they're going to know what you said, and they're going to know what their charges they're facing. So if you're snitching on a murder, the murderer is going to have your name and address. Just keep that in mind. If you're homeless and you're a snitch, the murderer will have your name and address. And he can shut you up by just shutting you up, right? He's a murderer. So be careful. Make sure that you have the FBI or some more serious departments actually working with you, because protocol for the Lowell police is to give the name of the person making the report, what the report is, what the charges are, and if you're homeless, obviously you're marked homeless, so they all know you just walking around all the time, right down in that town. And you can't skip town because you're a witness and you're the one filing the charges. Unless the police take over the charges, but most of the time in Lowell, they don't do that for the homeless. They love throwing you under the bus. They love it. They love when they get a homeless person wanting to snitch, because then they can get a criminal and they can fucking get a homeless person killed. It's a double whammy. Give the criminal the homeless guy who reported its name. The homeless guy might get killed for just wanting to report a crime, and the criminal will go to jail no matter what, either way. So it's a double whammy. The cops love it. We get to get rid of a homeless person and a criminal. Double whammy. So keep that in mind. Anyways, I'm not sure if that works the same in every town, but I hope not. I haven't seen much from Rochester for honesty or fear of God or following Jesus or working together or even paying their fair share. I mean, I have given so much to society. I was taken from my mother. I was forced to be drugged as a small child. I was trafficked all over the country. I worked at the age of 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, while disabled, while my father collected money and lied to me. And the jobs I did weren't a lot, 40 hours and nothing. At the age of 19, it was nothing. 18, it was nothing. 17, it was nothing for my age. But that's not the point. From 16 and before, I was working more than any other kid. And I was on Social Security. And there was a lot of illegal stuff going on with my father taking that Social Security. There was a lot. I'm not even going to go over that. So what happened in court? Nothing. They moved the date. They wanted to give some time to try to go over this. We don't have lawyers, and Dave's not asking for a lawyer properly. I'm trying to ask if there's anybody yet. I'm asking Dave to call and have them just file the paperwork to start, and then they'll assign somebody to him. But I got a name Kevin, and that was connected with my name. I think that's not there no more. I have no idea. I was trying to work with David, but we've got nowhere with David, so I got to switch back to my own stuff, because after this along, David should already have one, and he just doesn't want to do nothing. So if David doesn't want to get a lawyer, I don't know what else to do. He just has to ask them to file, get on that damn phone, get on that damn phone. Now, if he doesn't want a good lawyer, he can try legal aid. And he just has to ask them to file and has to be put on the list to receive a lawyer. But they have, I think, 20, 30 lawyers. You'll have to ask to be assigned one, which I thought he already did, but I guess not. I can't ask for him. I have asked them for him to assign him, But they wanted a call from him, and I told them that call, lawyer, 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 and I don't know. So we were showed up to court with no lawyer whatsoever. They want to give us another, what, 3 days? June 3rd, something like that. So we'll get 3 days. And I can't really write really well or walk, but I am intelligent. My brain works just fine. That limits my ability, but as long as David actually does stuff, we could do stuff together, and I can make phone calls pretty well. So that's a positive. It's just the movement, getting the places, driving, not being in the hospital, not having organ failure, not falling down, not having health problems in general, and being there. But I got there not well. It was a very embarrassing day. I got a ride back because I wasn't able to make it to the bus. I could clearly saw I couldn't even do the steps. The steps, I'm not going to talk about it because it bothers me that I'm actually having the squat or the squat, crawl, step, squat, whatever you call that, in front of a courthouse. But yes, I tried to use the railing and the cane, and I did pretty well. But no, I ended up not standing straight and ending up with one knee on the step and then trying to get myself up the steps so then I could try to stand up again. Well, it didn't go so well, but I did do it until it was time to empty out my pockets. Well, I had nothing problemsome, but my roommate in front of me is blocking me from able to do it quickly. I have to kind of sit there and wait, and I gotta empty my pockets right after him, but there's nowhere to put my stuff, and my hand is on my side, keeping pressure on my kidney so it reduces the pain so I can stand up, and my other hand's on a cane, keeping me bent over in just the right position. I don't know. I look like the hunchback of Notre Dame. I don't know what to freaking call it. And I can't stay like that. But if I keep pressure, hunch over with a cane, I can move while standing up. It's fucked up shit. I don't know what to say. I have shitty doctors, shitty parents, shitty mother. It fucking sucks. It does. But at least I know that there's a lot of things out there that can help me now. It took a lot of practice, research. At least I'm sane, and at least I have an actual understanding of where I need to go forward from here. But the first thing I need to accomplish is getting my father to stop lying and going along with fantasies, which is so difficult. It's so difficult, especially when he spent so much money invested in fantasies. And I mean, his wife. We're not going to go there, but if you've listened to my other videos, she was going downhill quick, and she did lots of damage to me. We'll leave it there that she poisoned me with pills. She did crazy ass stuff that does damage to a child's body, permanent damage, and then wanted to make sure nobody found out by covering up all her son's actual illnesses and what was actually going on with trafficking and spending money to establish stories with psychiatrists. Not my stories, my mother's stories. And then if I didn't agree with it, oh boy, things didn't go well for me. Like, for instance, I held a match to slug slime. That's it. I had to get naked in front of strangers for a month. I was over drugged. They gave me a double dose. I was already over medicated to begin with, but then they actually held me down and gave me a double dose of my afternoon medication in the same hour, based upon my roommate's storytelling abilities to try to get back at me because he didn't like me making fun of him for being a cocaine head. He wanted to talk about cocaine, and I didn't want to, so I made fun of him about it. I didn't really make fun of him. I was just like, you know, what do you want some? That's stupid. Just stuff like that. Like, what the hell are you talking about that shit for? That's stupid. You're not doing no cocaine. Not at your age. He goes, huh? Goes out in the hallway. Man, I know. I should have saw this trick, from the orphanage. But anyways, we're not gonna go into that either. there's nothing really in court. There's nothing. We went into the courtroom. We waited. A lot of injury stuff, a lot of my health issues. The court itself, we just sat down. They told the landlord that he didn't file the paperwork correctly. Thank God, that gives us more time, but I just don't know what I can really do in my condition, and my roommate doesn't want to do the work that's necessary to actually win this or stay here. And this landlord is easily going to do circles around David. I can easily stop this landlord from doing circles. I can stop this landlord in his tracks. But I can't move, walk, get to places, pick up paperwork, make phone calls, and this is a household. So if David wants to not do stuff, it makes it 10 times harder for me. And then I can't get nothing done. So this has to be a joint effort. And there needs to be lawyers and paperwork and lots of stuff filled out. So it's a fighting battle, but they said he has to refile, and we'll be seeing him on June 3rd. Our case is terrible, though. As far as I'm looking at the case right now, David doesn't even know how to explain what he has. The judge isn't going to hear him out. They're barely going to hear me out without an attorney. We're not going to get to argue very much. We're going to get to show our paperwork. They're going to not even look through it. And whatever David says doesn't matter. He doesn't realize he can bumble along saying stuff all day long, but you have to show a piece of paper and say, this is what this is. This is a legal standard. The lawyer will put it all in clear view, in order, exactly what the proof is, what the claims are, in a nice legal way, ahead of time. Things work out good. You think I'm going to be able to do anything a lawyer actually does? Absolutely not. We need representation badly, and I'm too injured to go around town. I'm making phone calls like crazy, you better believe it. And my roommate doesn't even want to make the phone call. And he can get downtown. He can go to their office. What I would love to do, I would love to go to office to office to office to office, showing them pictures, videos, everything I got. I would love it. But I'm out of time. And I'm getting worse. My kidneys are getting worse. My GI is getting a little better, but last time it got better like this, I pushed it and it got worse. So I don't know what the hell that means. If great is getting better, fantastic. But it needs to be all the way better. No pressure on the GI. I mean, this is like a year. Maybe it just feels like a year. But it's a long time now. It's 6 months at least with the GI. Kidneys, this bad, months, months. But I think I had some couple months before where it felt weird in the kidneys, but I didn't really get severe pain. It just felt not good, like a sharp, light pinch. Now it's not that shit. Now it's a very clear shaped, intense pain that causes other body parts to move to avoid hurting them, and you gotta take pressure or gravity off, and your body just wants to slam you to the ground or squat instantly. It's hard to explain. My urine also turned black coming out of me. So, yeah, there was that. Of course, I recorded it, took samples, went to the emergency room. They got a sample. It changed color too. It came out of my body, black with a green tint. And after 6 months or so, or 4 months of sitting there, it turned dark, dark, dark brown. They don't seem to think it's hepatitis, because I have been asking for hepatitis treatment, oh my God, 11 years now, and they keep on saying, we can't identify it. It's not that bad. You don't need treatment. Your liver count isn't high. We can't identify it. You don't need treatment. I've been hearing this from doctor after doctor. Bullshit of bullshit of bullshit of bullshit of bullshit. I want to be treated. Oh, we can treat you. Okay, so treat me. No, we can't. You can't? What's wrong? Well, you have hepatitis C, and yes, there's a treatment, but your count isn't very high. And because of that, there's only a very, very certain type of strand for each medicine. So we need to identify that very, very specific strand before we treat you. So you're going to need to wait 6 months before doing another blood work. Why don't we just do the blood work now, get it done with? No, no, no. It has to be in 6 months. You're only allowed to do the blood test every 6 months for a hepatitis C treatment. What the fuck is wrong with you people? I've been doing this for 11 years while having multiple other health problems. I don't want any more psychological fuck ups, okay? I don't want you guys fucking with people's heads anymore. If you tell somebody that you're going to treat them, you better. If you tell them you might treat them, then you might have to treat them. Those are two different fucking things. If you tell somebody that your insurance will pay for treatment, and they do treat for hepatitis C, and that all they need is to prove you have hepatitis C, but then they give you a bunch of bullshit later about there is a cure they can give you, but their insurance wants to give you a different cure, but they don't want to give you that cure because we can't identify the specific strain that goes with that specific medicine. So we're going to have to wait 6 months. But there is an actual generic cure that would actually cure all forms of hepatitis C that you might have, but the insurance doesn't want to pay for that because of your liver count being down. So there's no risk of this hepatitis hurting me. Well, we didn't say that. Well, why did you tell me that you were going to treat me and you were so sure? I told you to not let my hopes up with this. I told you that either you treat me, and because you're telling me that you're going to fully treat me. I didn't say maybe they'll treat me. You said that they would definitely treat me and definitely my insurance will cover it. I called my insurance. They said they would cover it. Everything was checked in the boxes. Now, why are you coming back to me with fucking bullshit? Did you give me a maybe? No. But I don't get to say that. I just have to go, uh-huh, uh-huh. Okay, doctor. I understand. You screwed me. Okay. Mm-hmm. Oh, yes, yes. I understand. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, you just lied to me the first time. You told me you were certain of something. But now you're changing your story and refusing treatment and telling me to do another blood work in 6 months. Ah, okay. What the hell's wrong with you fuckers? You know what happens when you treat people like this, right? Does anybody understand what happens when you poison somebody over and over and over? When you allow doctors to destroy people's organs over and over and over for 25 years? Especially that my hepatitis most likely was from the shelter in some asshole. I definitely tested positive way before I ever used needles. Yeah, there was drugs, but there wasn't needles. And I heard you can get it from sniffing. But you know what? I got stabbed in the back or on the side, I guess you would call it, with a needle by a backpack sticking out. I'm like, what the hell is that? I go to look at my back. There's a needle or something shiny coming out of some guy's backpack. I go up to him and go, what the hell is that? That fucking hurt. What is that? He goes in his backpack, right? Pulls out something in an orange cap. Caps it all up and then sticks it in. Don't worry about it. I go tell the staff member at the shelter. They say they'll check the cameras. They say they don't see anything on the cameras. What am I supposed to do? I try to report it. Police don't care. Nobody fucking cares. There's nothing on the cameras. And he's putting the cap back on in the fucking bag. I don't know what the angle. They probably got black and white, for goodness sake. Who knows? My report probably got that guy thrown out, and that's it. I don't even know what the hell happened. I'm lucky I didn't get stabbed. But that's probably how I got it. But there was another time after I tested positive for hepatitis C that some idiot came in contact with me again. He threw drugs in a cooker. I ended up doing them. Now, there was many times I did drugs while I was living outside. Benzos, opiates, preferred pills. They're just clean and you know where they're coming from, even though they're not healthy. Actually, most opiate pills are 20, maybe 40 times more addictive than the plants themselves when refined, like heroin. Even though heroin is a medication, but it's just refined opium. Pretty actual, there's only a couple processes to it. I don't suggest it, but it's better than fentanyl or Oxycontin or methadone addiction. All those are, oh my God, the worst. The best way to get off heroin is to be given a very precise dose of heroin and then have a very precise less dose of heroin and then have a very less dose of that heroin and then have a very less precise dose of the heroin until you get to such a small amount that you go to zero. And then you stay at zero and do different therapies, rehabs. You do the right things, you work, you maybe have churches help you, whatever. Getting somebody addicted